Welcome to Talk is Cheap and the Press is Free. And today we're coming at you with a story about a slow moving coup in the last line of defense. This is written by a concerned citizen, John Q. Public. This is not rhetoric. It is not speculation. It is not hindsight. It is a record of events measured against the plain text of the United States Constitution. The Constitution of the United States does not grant criminal immunity to presidents. Article 2 defines presidential powers but nowhere exempts the president from the law. Article 1, Section 3 states plainly, judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office, but the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to the law. The framers anticipated prosecution. They did not forbade it. Despite this, the current president has openly argued that he should be immune from criminal prosecution and has asked the Supreme Court to grant him that protection. The court responded by constructing a doctrine of presidential immunity not found in the constitutional text. 3 of the justices supporting that expansion were appointed by the very individual seeking immunity. And when he was seeking immunity, he was in the middle of a RICO case. Let that shit sink in. Yeah, those are facts. And if you don't believe me, look it up yourself. I don't want no one taking my word for nothing. This is a conveyance of facts. I am not trying to convince you. Everything I lay out will be established. The Chief Justice, John Roberts, bears direct responsibility for this rupture. Either he is unable to comprehend the plain constitutional text before him, or he has knowingly abandoned it. There is no third option. The Constitution does not grant presidential criminal immunity, yet the court under his leadership invented a theory of it through legalese untethered from the document itself. Whether an officer swears to support and defend the Constitution under Article 6 and then proceeds to undo it, its clear meaning through fabricated doctrine, that officer is acting against the very document that confers his authority. In either case, incapacity, incompetence, or bad faith, the result is the same, a betrayal of the oath sworn and of the Constitution itself. Traitor Roberts. The same president later stated publicly and in writing that the Constitution itself could be terminated. That statement was not hypothetical or mischaracterized. It was an explicit rejection of the constitutional supremacy by someone who swore an oath under Article 2, Section 1. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. He's done neither. He is undoing the Constitution of the United States. If you don't believe me, just read the damn thing. It's only 4 pages long, and then come back if you can comprehend what you read, and let me see what you said. You heard? Now, under any honest reading, calling for the suspension of the Constitution is a violation of that oath. Again, I'm conveying this. I am not convincing. I don't care if you believe me. It's the facts. I'm documenting it right now. Yet no meaningful institution consequences have followed. Why not? No checks, no balances? What happened to that? Oh, they don't think you went to school for that. The danger lies not only in the conduct of one individual, but in the collective refusal of a political party to act, the GOP. Impeachment is not a symbolic theater. It is a constitutional duty. Article 1, Section 2 grants the House of Representatives the sole power of impeachment. Article 1, Section 3 grants the Senate the sole power to try all impeachments. When a party with the power to restrain a constitutional violator refuses to do so, it becomes a complicit party in law. Silence combined with authority is not neutrality, it is adoption. This pattern extends beyond the presidency and follows into the political party system. Both parties, one's too weak to do anything and the other's so fucking stupid it's fascist. Public statements by senior federal officials, including the vice idiot president
and the Security of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, have asserted that states cannot investigate federal officers, even in cases involving alleged criminal conduct. That position implies federal power is absolute and unreviewable. We do not want a king, dictator, or monarchy. We fought against that in 1776. See? The Constitution says otherwise. The 10th Amendment states the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The people are the power, people. We're just leasing this shit out to these idiots that we've elected. Why we've elected them and allowed corporations to put them up, I do not know. That's on you guys to understand. I'm only giving you the meat and potatoes of what's going down. A slow-moving coup that started on January 6th. The Supremacy Clause, Article 6 states, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be supreme law of the land. Marbury v. Madison states that any law repugnant of the Constitution is null and void. Dual sovereignty is a foundational principle of American federalism. Absolute power was explicitly rejected by the framers, Chief Trader Roberts. At the same time, federal actions have increasingly targeted protected constitutional rights. ICE agents have no jurisdiction over American citizens. Yet, the First Amendment guarantees Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Yet, we have seen federal enforcement actions deployed against lawful protest, ICE, lice, I mean not nice, calls to use the National Guard in response to protected assembly, that traitor, the orange one, repeated rhetorical and legal attacks on journalists and news organizations, again the orange traitor is bastard, and the use of federal enforcement agencies such as ICE and DHS to target lawful civil activity. Right now the government is acting like tyranny. And can be, listen, actions and what I'm saying, yeah, is a conveyance of facts. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to get you to go along with it. It's written down, documented, and you can see it with your eyes in real time. These are not abstract concerns. They are observable uses of state power against rights the Constitution explicitly protects. Get that? We're protected to speak freely, especially against our government and institutions that work with the government, like, let's say, corporations. And institutional checks fail. As institutional checks fail, civil resistance has begun to emerge through lawful means. Mass strikes, labor actions, and consumer boycotts are occurring as mechanisms to withdraw consent and economic cooperation. These actions are historically recognized forms of nonviolent democratic pressure when formal accountability mechanisms break down. None of this is accidental. None of it. The founders warned that the gravest threat to the Republic would not be an invasion, but the erosion of consent from within. James Madison, Jesus, can you speak, sir, sometimes? James Madison cautioned that faction, combined with unchecked power, would overwhelm constitutional safeguards. When elections are questioned, when courts shield power, and when enforcement is selective, the system continues to function procedurally while failing substantively. This is why the term slow-moving coup is descriptive rather than inflammatory. Democratic collapse rarely begins with force. It begins legally through judicial deference, legislative inaction, normalization of extremism, and the belief that institutions will eventually correct themselves. That is how the Weimar Republic fell in the 30s, not overnight, but through accommodation and delay. The Weimar Republic was Germany before the Nazis took over, and the Nazis were a right-wing conservative party for all the people calling them socialist. They were socialist in name only. Their main target was the socialist, this, that, and the third. They did not go after the far right. And what is MAGA? It's not middle of the road. But I believe those people didn't know what they were voting for. I really do. Not all of them. Some of them are racist and bigots. I'll give you that. But the majority are just not as educated on the Constitution as some of us. History also shows something else. Members of the United States military are bound by an oath, not to a person, but to the Constitution. They are trained to refuse unlawful orders. They are also citizens, sons, daughters, parents, neighbors, embedded in the communities they serve. American history provides no evidence that the armed forces will willingly execute unconstitutional orders against their own people. That reality stands in tension with any effort to use federal force to suppress constitutional rights. What remains, therefore, is not violence or chaos. What remains is the ballot box, lawful civic pressure, and constitutional refusal to comply with illegitimate authority. Elections are the final nonviolent line of defense when other checks fail because those entrusted with them refuse to act. Law-abiding citizens who point this out are often labeled critics or extremists, while a convicted felon, 34-time convicted felon who sought immunity, rejected elections and called for the suspending of the Constitution is treated with linguistic caution. That asymmetry is not neutrality, it is deference to power. Words matter because they create the historical record. History does not judge institutions by their intentions. It judges them by what they tolerated, what they protected, and what they refused to stop. This is not an attempt to convince. It is a statement of record. If the Constitution survives, it will not be because elites defended it. It will be because the people did peacefully, lawfully, and at the ballot box. Meanwhile, Donald J. Trump wants to do away with the elections by doing the Insurrection Act. And the party that is his party, supposedly the party that helped him get elected and swore oaths to the Constitution, is violated. I can call out many senators and many congressmen from the Republican side, but then you have the Democratic side that says, what can we do? I'll tell you what you can do. You can read about George Washington when he fought in the Massachusetts winter with no shoes on his soldiers' feet. Did he say, we don't have the numbers, we don't have the power? That sounds like you're trying to figure something out, and you shouldn't be a leader if you already don't know the answer to the problem. Leaders don't shrink when they ain't got the numbers. Leaders don't cry when they're at a disadvantage. They outthink the other guy and win. And right now, we have the Constitution and the people at our back. All we got to do is go forth. That's it. Forward. Forward. And not give 1 inch to the traitorous regime that we see. Not 1 inch. You can't be violating constitutional law, international law, kidnapping people's presidents that they elected in Venezuela, then going after Denmark for Greenland that's an ally and a NATO ally, and we're in NATO. And we're only one of what, 2, I think, or 3 that can actually veto, and it's absolute. We need to fix that. We shouldn't have that sole power either, because look at what we got today. The United States needs to be humbled. What do I mean humble? We need to sit down, we need to impeach this prick and put him in prison, along with all the other people that are breaking the law, and they know they're breaking the law. And remember, ignorance is no excuse for you or I. It shouldn't be for any other guy. We're supposed to be equal. Let's be equal. I want to be equal. But yet the Supreme Court has violated equality. It's allowed people to be looked at for having accents, or it's racial profiling allowed again. They did away with the civil rights movement. This is an unlawful Supreme Court, an unlawful regime, and an unlawful Congress, and an unlawful Senate, and it's made up by a majority of Republicans. The majority is the Republican Party, and they want to cry that someone can't call them out for what they are. No. This is a fact. You people are sitting there doing nothing. Nothing. And the people of America don't want people to be shot in the face and blinded. They don't want them to be killed because they're trying to escape or panic. Panic is not a death penalty in America. Neither is drug crimes. Neither is all these other crimes. There's no death penalty. But now ICE can be the judge, jury, and executioner. This is what Kristi Noem, your vice president, said. What he said. We are living in a time of traitors. Now, the way the treason law is written up, it is very, goofy. But the point is, people see it for what they are. These are tyrants. And no one's stopping these people from being tyrannical. They're going along with it. So, remember that. And God bless you all. God bless America. And stay free, my people. Talk is cheap. The press is free. And I don't think I'm talking cheaply.